Welcome to the Seven Crosses series for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, and we are picking up on the 9th of August 1998. Apologies that this video will be slightly shorter than normal. The reason for that is that I'm being a bit squeezed at the moment with the amount of recording time that I have available when you bear it against the amount of content that I'm currently producing. Now, what I want to do in this part is effectively go around and give my economy a little bit of a health check, because the last two parts we've been focusing very much on the crime and justice update. The first one was we built the courthouse and the prison, and then in the last part we focused very much on trained distribution officers, and that to a certain degree has kind of let me take my eye off the ball with respect to the whole economy. And so what I need to do is go round, especially as you look at the top there, you see I've lost quite a lot of money, and I'll explain the reason for that in a little while. But first, a big thank you for all comments and feedback. As usual, you guys give me so much to think about. Now, I did get a suggestion that over here that we could end, and rather than just let no one in here, that we could actually change this to allow educated citizens in, but anyone who is under 25 move in here and see how things go, because we have got a bit of a shortage. I'm going to be very interested to see whether that will actually work, because that would be able to provide a filter so that we can put our lower loyalty people in here, and then if they want to leave, they can leave. I mean, generally speaking, at the moment we're doing okay, considering the fact that the loyalty in this area must be very low, because the happiness is down in the basement. Just to show you that, you can see the happiness is 61%, 47%, 56%. But this is my test area. Loyalty, of course, we've got no idea as we got it. Health is still very strong, despite the fact that we've got a little bit of alcohol dependency over here. But beyond that, things are going quite well, and we are making a little bit of money from it. It's just to see there. So we'll go back to last month. We're making roughly $250,000 from there. But you can see the losses I've incurred has been down simply to the sheer amount of vehicles I've been buying. But you can also see, this is probably not a good example because I've fixed it since then, but what I've had a bit of a problem with electronics, but I'll explain that in a little while. Now, I've also had a suggestion from somebody who said about using return trips with respect to when you set up bus lines like this. And I'll be honest, I do it more out of habit than anything else, and I do wonder whether it's actually changed. So what I'm going to do is we're going to change this route. Actually, no, the coal mine here, we're just going to set this here. But the other thing I also want to do with this route is put them on here, because I do have a little bit of a problem with respect to the amount of workers going out this way. And then we're just going to remove this. We'll just let that run and see how it goes. Now, I've got a problem over here which had got away from me, and I'm just going to stop this. I'm getting a lot of workers out here where I'll need in other places at the moment. So, and I don't really need this building to be finished at the moment. I'm trying to find out. Okay, this is the one I'm looking for. Speed up a little bit so that we can make some progress. I just want to see. Actually, let's change this route as well. So, all processing. Actually, no, we're just going to leave that the way it is. Discard changes. Because I'm going to be very interested to see whether people return automatically, even if that setting isn't set. So we're just going to go here. So people stayed on the loco, even though this doesn't say return. And what I would like to do is see what happens to these as we go. So I'm just going to kind of hook out a few people at random. Follow the train round. At the moment it says they're returning back to Colville train platform. I just want to see what happens when they get back to the platform, because we got a bit of a people getting stuck there. I think I might put a few more buses on that platform to make the workers. Okay, here we go. So they're just riding backwards and forwards on the tram, aren't they? So we certainly do need to possibly pull away a few more workers from this area here. And I think that is a good example of I need to think a little bit more about my distribution, although getting quite a lot of workers in here. To be honest, I do need the workers in this area because my average productivity is reasonable, but it is falling. You'll see the occasional person in here that has quite low productivity, and that is having an effect on my supply line through here, especially with respect to this area here, which is then possibly affecting my steelworks. But we do have a little bit of steel surplus in here, and what I have actually done is set up a distribution office to export excess coal from here should I need it. And I think that is probably a good kind of segue to the final comment that somebody asked. That is about transport networks and the effect of rail distribution offices. And the actual question was whether, I'm just going to slow the game up because I don't want it getting away from me, is whether you can carry multiple products. And the truth is, yes, you can. The distribution office will move multiple products, but it is subject to quite a strong caveat. Well, we show this one. I know he's going the wrong way. Anyway, I'll just have to explain the caveat manually. Now, the way it works is, probably if we go back to the distribution office, is that for it to work properly, what you've got to do is have a pickup point with lots of common resources like clothes, alcohol, and electronics. So, say for example, to Colville, it's possible for a train, even with a single wagon, to carry both food and electronics, and also say electronics, alcohol, and food to Stilton. And probably the best example is when the train goes to Ollerton, it's possible for it to carry all four of these goods because they're all sourced from this location. They can all technically be carried as a mixed cargo to Ollerton if there's a need. So it is possible, but at the same time, it kind of leads into the next thing I want to talk about, which is the fact that when you're planning rail networks in the future, we're going to have to give it a little bit more consideration than we've probably done in the past, for two reasons. One, we probably need to move more towards having these big centralized depots here, or distribution centers, as they're from a logistics point of view. So you'd have so I think if I was redesigning this, I'd probably put 2 warehouses here and make this into a big distribution center. And then on the converse of that, what you do is we go to Stilton, you'd have another center like this. And I think going forward, I probably won't have them so close to the city. So you'd have a regional distribution center here, which then you could use trucks to supply outwards. And I know some of you will say, well, that's the way that you've always done it. But now the extra consideration is being able to ship multiple products rather than what we've done before is possibly using individual trains. So there is a possibility that if I was redesigning this again, I would make this in Ollerton into a closed distribution center. And then what that would do is take the clothes back to over here. In fact, that might be something that's going to be worth considering as this settlement over here develops. Well, no, because eventually we'll have this here as well. But an option would have been is to actually take clothes back from here. And I think that now leads into something else I've noticed by monitoring these distribution offices. Now, of course, I built them here simply because this was the only location where I've got it. But of course, the problem I've got is it's a long way away from my main distribution center. What I'm thinking when I'm planning these distribution centers in the future, that what you really need is, if you've got a main distribution center here, just pretend that this actually is, what you really need is the distribution office close by, so that when the trains go out to pick up from, say, this distribution office, there's no long outrun like I've got at the moment, because at the moment the trains are wasting a lot of time because they've got to come all the way across the map empty to pick up from here, because the game at the moment doesn't allow for trains to work in a bi-directional sense. And that's another consideration that will need to be taken into account in the future when we're actually planning our networks. Now, the other thing that somebody mentioned was ensuring that everything went wrong, because what we're going to need is main lines. And I think this comes down to what is probably going to be a very important decision you're going to need to make planning your rail network is how long is it going to be your longest train. Now, I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of long trains. I know some players actually are, but what you've got to do is decide on the maximum length of the train. Of course, with the distribution offices, the maximum length at the moment is 155, but I'm pretty sure that the mod community will soon have super long distribution offices to actually help things go along. And that leads into what probably my preferred length is 200 meters. And what you're probably going to need to do is section up track. So for argument's sake, this is 219 here. So we got you could do, I mean, I'm not going to spend the whole video doing this, but I just want to do this as an example. So let's say for argument's sake you put that there, then we'll just remove that signal there and there, and we'll segue to there's that one there, and then get to, so what I'll do is I'll be a bit generous there, and then what that should do is cancel that, and that gives me 163 into there. So what that will mean is that if you've got long straight sections like this where the distance between signals is slightly longer than your longest train, will ensure that your trains are always moving through as quickly as possible. I mean, there's a whole section here that probably could be this, don't do with the same treatment. This guy is just going up to pick up fuel, and probably another reasonable example of that is over here with the tram sections, because if I come into here, what you'll see is at the moment this is quite fine. So I break this up. When I was monitoring the trams, I noticed a little bit that the trams themselves were stopping because the length of the tram is like that. So, oops. So you could probably section a tram line up even a lot smaller than what it actually is at the moment. So, and what that would do is ensure that the trams will move a little bit smoother as they go across here. In fact, we could probably put another one just there. So on that point, I think we've got a lot to think about with respect to getting the best out of these distribution offices, and I'm sure that over the next few months we're going to be spending some time actually sorting this area out. Now, just to finish off these distribution offices, I've made some changes here. What I've got is we've only got 2 trains on this side because I was quite literally running out of money. So what I'm doing here is I'm using this side to export gravel from my main gravel production area. At the moment, I've just been sure that I've got plenty of gravel. I've set this to 89%. And what I've also done is moved all the coal distribution over to this one. And I think at the moment, you're picking up from here. Yep. So we're getting coal pickup from here. And then just to get a little bit of exports, what I've also done, if we come back to here, is I've changed this distribution office so that what it does is it actually picks up when the loading in Coalville gets to over 90%, or export a little bit of coal to the border. So if I can actually get the productivity up in this area, let's see what we got here. Oh, it's kind of getting back together again. And then what we can do is get a little bit of coal exports there, and in that similar vein, what I want to do is we're getting a little bit of excess productivity over here as well with respect to fuel. And what I was hoping is that these guys we're going to change this. So you're going to pick up from here as long as it's over fuel 90%, because I'm gonna need to find some way to finance my problem, which I'll talk about once I've just done this line here. So just come in here, Go back to the... Okay, guys, why aren't you moving? Oh, it's because they've got oil. Right, we're going to have to discard the oil in here. Right, that's you. Yeah, this is one of the problems when you mix trains and trucks. I think they're just taking a little while to wake up. But what they can do is go and pick up there. And what we're going to do is export a little bit of fuel directly from there to the border. I think that covers all the comments and everything else. If I think of anything else, I'll remind. Now, this area up here is coming online, and I actually need a gravel train. Better get my cement production going here. We're going to get you to store cement here. So we've now got our cement production, but the problem is I probably don't have the workforce at the moment. We got a little bit of unemployment. But before that, I just want to talk about the problem that I've been alluding to. And that is when I set the distribution office up, I was a little bit too generous with the settings for the electronics. You can see I've actually reduced it. And in 1 month, I imported about 60 tons of electronics, and it cost me millions. And I actually lost money. In fact, I think I can show it to you. You go back to the last month, you'll see that I actually... But this, I think this is vehicles actually. Maybe it was the month before, but put it this way, I dropped right down, and I went right down to about 35 million, I think. Or no, it was a bit higher than that possibly. I was just constantly losing money, and I suddenly realized it was the electronics. So again, this is saying if you add these rail distribution offices, take care when you set up all the various delivery places. They can be very efficient sometimes. What's this here? Okay, you're actually food distribution. So that is something to take into consideration. Actually, let me just check this. You're bringing up foods and clothes from where? Oh, you're the actual pickup point here for food and clothes distribution here. Now, one thing I have noticed is the food doesn't build up that high, despite the fact that I think I've told... I just want to check down here now, because... Let me just see. Sorry, apologies for jumping backwards and forwards across on the map, as usual. I think what I will do, if I can find the distribution office, I just want to see what the settings for these here are. They're all set to 100%, but I think part of the problem with the food is down to the fact that this distance of the run out, and Colville seems to be pretty kind of susceptible to it, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye on Colville. Now I need to do a bit more work here, so because I've got a problem up here. Just let the game run. Is that this tower block here is actually too far away from the shop, and I did put a bus stop in here, pick people up, but he's not really running that efficient. So what I want to do is work on this area a little bit, with respect to putting a store in here. And this is going to need this is going to have quite a lot of workers here, because when this is finished, we'll get this running. So I think we're going to put you on this corner. There's no power here as well, so we're going to have to keep seeing workers. What? Yeah, so it's this workers waiting. I don't want workers on this train station. In fact, I don't want anyone on this train station. This train station doesn't go anywhere. Well, that's a bit of a fail, isn't it? Right, you've got to get into here. This is your way to get to food. I say this has been my kind of concern, and I think if we hook you up to there, you to there, possibly come to there. Now, what our road crew over here should pick them up and get that done. That built, get that built, get that built. That built. Okay, we got this loop through one continuous footpath. I do wonder, oops. I do wonder whether this Oh no, it is two separate sections. I need to get this speeded up a little bit. So we're going to get the helicopter crew on here as well, because we definitely need this built. We need power. I mean, we've got a power takeoff here, and we got, so what I really need is some power to cover this whole area, so we can get in. I think you've got power, and you've definitely got power. Where are you drawing power from? We've got power from there. So this is pretty close to the limit. So if I put in a substation about, which is just on the edge of, because I don't really want the substation. We do need, actually, have you got power? You don't have power, which means that might explain for why you're a bit inefficient. I think, what, actually, if I put the first substation, say, here, because this is kind of going to be a little bit of a dead zone. Actually, we put it this, actually, we put it here. That will cover this initial area here. If I put that there, and I am going to go back to using mud roads a little bit more now. And then I think I'm going to go underground, I think, because I want to keep this area as open as possible into there like that. Except you. Luckily the helicopters can build things underground. I'll just get that. So if we get this built, I mean, to be honest, I've got plenty of over 21s at the moment. Luxury, which I don't have with my Four Corners series. Hopefully that will make a difference. We're getting a lot more passengers into here now. So maybe they will actually get in and do something. Wouldn't mind that being built as well, but I don't want to use the helicopters for it. I think this guy isn't exactly working too hard at the moment. So you can work on that. Of course, the other project that I want to work on, start working on, that is up here. That will be the subject of the next video, because we've got to put in police and courthouse and you name it. I just really want to make sure that everything else is working pretty well at the moment, because and I also want to keep an eye on the happiness and you name it. I want to keep an eye on it. I've got the cement plant here, but I don't think I've really got the workforce for it at the moment. Actually, how is the unemployment here? We've only got unemployment of 77, 78. Got a few workers there. What's the unemployment over here? 7 workers without a job over here. Can you get to... You can just get to the bus platform. I think what we will do is we'll get these guys. I don't think, or you've got a few jobs, but I think you can start work on that. How's the food supply here? Food supply here is good, because I would like to get this cement plant working, but maybe if we get the money, I'll get that working there. So I think overall, let's just check the overlays. Ollerton is got a happiness of 75%, up to 80. I think probably the lower ones are due to the fact, oh no, it says don't have a job. Okay, are you actually in range of the bus stop here? Oh, we actually got workers up here. What passengers and workers up here? I've just had a sudden thought that we could do a transfer here and possibly put some workers up in here. How many workers do I need in? It's going to be a bit odd. Actually, I just had a thought. If I put you onto there, you've got a workforce of 200. That will push them into this area. We've got plenty of workers here that keep this area going. And to be honest, this area isn't 100% crucial as long as we've got enough in here to do the heating. And I think people can walk up to do the heating. Yep. I think I will put a quick bus route up to here and just get that, because we've now got the panel factory working. You need that connection there. Well, you've got the gravel connection. This is set up. I think we're possibly on the kind of cusp of getting this going. In fact, I think I am gonna. We've got this bus stop here, which means we can drop you off directly between these two workers here. Yeah, I am gonna go for a. Let me just go back and. No, I can't use this distribution office, can I? Because the way I design my gravel outlay, that's going to be annoying. Yeah, the problem is that if I come back to here, I built these two lines because my original plan was to have the actual track kind of a split distribution based on before we had the. And I think this is a good example of how things can not work out according to plan. I think what I am going to do is I am going to spend the money on a train. Just have to buy one here. Now, electric loco. It cost me 5 million. It's going to hurt, but. And then we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, what we're going to have to be a bit careful now. Setting this route up, because we're going to have to send the train here first to unload gravel, and then you're going to have to go all the way back, because I can't send to the first station because he can't get to it directly. And then we'll put you onto this one, and you're going to load the gravel, get rid of you, you're going to load gravel. We're just going to make sure that he's going to be happy. Yeah, I think he will, because we know that all this section of track is good. Anything I need to check is the signals in here. Let me just make sure these signals are good. This runs in here, this runs into here. Yep. Anything I will change is, which I forgot to do, is where's the unloading? Wait until unloaded. And what that will do is get the gravel into here. So what we now need is what's the potential workforce here? We got 30, 65. I don't really want the 65 people working in here, so we'll drop this down to say about 20. Drop you down to 20 as well, but not, maybe they're not quite that low. 15. Yeah, microbus. What are you delivering to? Oh, you're from the construction office. I think we'll just start with one bus at the moment, and then we'll build up to something a little bit bigger. So we'll get a bus in here. 62 workers, 55. We got 1990. I know it's actually we'll go with 2 buses at 32, like that. We'll just keep that there. Go back over to here. Your job is going to be to pick up from here, and we will leave it bi-directional. This is part of a test, and then your job is going to be delivered to here. So you can go bi-directional, and we're you off, and then we're just come here. what that should do is allow me to then get workers up to here. We've got this set to gravel, and then so what we can do is start producing. That doesn't looks a bit kind of undulating, doesn't it? Oh well, that's the way it goes. So what we should do is get some more panels in here, and we'll get some cement in here as well. And what that does is it opens up an opportunity to build a supplementary construction area in this place here. Was this the... Okay, let's just check this train for... Make sure seeing he's arrived. The last thing I want him to do is get stuck saying he's unloading. So just let him run into here. He should, as long as he gets out past this junction, I'll be happy. So we've now got another train running backwards and forwards there, and that will get that industry up and running. So that is good. Its happiness is too low. Where is that? Well, that's understandable because you've got no problems here. Let's have a look here. We're on September. Let's have a look at my economy. What could we earn? 5 million. Yeah, well, that's because I just bought a train. So we earned about 1.7 million last month. And our exports is 2 million clothes, bitumen. Somebody actually passed a comment about that I say bitumen and bitumen. I'll be honest, I've actually caught that off of Rivera Gaming, because he pronounces bitumen in a very precise way, and I've got absolutely no understanding why. But if I'm talking normally, I say bitumen, but whenever I'm playing Workers and Resources, his pronunciation comes into my mind, and I always say bitumen. Got absolutely no understanding whatsoever why I do it. I'll be completely honest. We've got this area here, and things are going along quite nicely. Apologies for that. It's just the way things are. I think the problem with this health now is the fact that it gets distorted by the fact that we've got areas where there are low health, like the pollution. The same with the happiness. The happiness says 77%. It's mainly down to here. Look at that. We're down to 39% here. Wow. But we're not actually gaining people with this. Oh, it helps if I actually allow people in. So that's something I didn't realise, that you've actually got to let people in on an individual, because I've turned everything off. So the area one overrides everything. If you haven't, but this still allows. Actually, we'll let people without education move in, and allow you. They're ordinary educated people as well. So maybe that's affecting. We've got to allow set an education statement as well. So what we're going to allow is people with low education or normal education and low. Oh, maybe we'll just put a few high education people in here as well. And let's see if that actually comes up here. It says unable to get food. I'm not exactly sure why you've got a problem with food. Heat, electronics, 103 without sport. I've got a feeling that people just aren't working here, are they? I've got sport in here somewhere. Kindergarten. This is the mayor's office. It says high sport. I've got to wonder whether the stats from this commune is exactly right according to what's going on here. I wonder if that is not telling me exactly what I needed to know. Oh, it's a bit odd, because I think, I don't know, these guys aren't much better. I mean, 42 citizens without sport. We've got culture. What's the level of alcohol addiction here? The alcohol addiction isn't that high. which is a bit misleading. Yeah, I don't understand why this is saying 99% sport and 92% when we've got all these really bad stats up here. Maybe that's something that we're going to look at going forward. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, I'm a bit tight for time, so I just had someone wave at me and point at their watch to say, remind me what the time actually is. So what we're going to do is we're just going to run around and check the status of all our individual towns. I think this is starting to get to the medium of the level here. Is I'm able to visit a pub or tavern. Did I? I might not have set the distribution up to deliver the alcohol. Let me just check. Yeah. Fullerton pub. I think we can push this up a little bit. But you've got alcohol here. You've got alcohol. Why are you not delivering it, game? Starting to wonder whether this might not be enough. Oh, you've got electronics. You've got food. You've got food. I think what we're going to need here is some bigger trucks. I think we're just going to sort that out here. What trucks here? We've got the CAS 1520s. Which is, what is this? Yeah, the 5320. This one, which can carry, I think we're just going to fill this up with the CASs because these have got speed and they've got reasonable carry capacity. It does help if they actually can pick up the alcohol. That's my failing there, but we'll give the people in Ollerton a nice bit of. This is what I meant when I started the video, when I was saying that there might be a bit of a problem with respect to the fact that I've been concentrating on crime and justice, so there's little mistakes like that are just coming in. Again, this has got 78. I think I talked about this in the last video. This is actually, this is dropped. What's up with these guys? Yeah, this is the effect of the electronics. Now if you watch the last video, you can see these were 10% higher, but so what I'm going to really need to start to focus on is trying to get some electronics in now, because to get the above 80% now, you've got to have basically electronics, which does have implications for the long term going forward. Loyalty is still stuck down in the 40s. I just can't seem to get the loyalty up. Alcohol dependence is kind of still spread a little bit here. It's increasing in this area, which is a little bit of a cause for concern. And again, I do wonder whether the fact that they've got electronics now is actually increasing the alcohol dependence, which is a little bit odd. And of course, just to have a quick check of the orphanages, and we've still got quite a lot of people coming in like that. So I'm starting to think we are getting a baseline now to work from. Of course, this is our dry town, Colville. And you can see the happiness is at 79% again. It'd probably say, yeah, not enough electronics, but I can't afford to keep importing them to supply that need at the moment. I need to be able to start manufacturing that locally. Loyalty is about 38% here. 35% is obviously probably what I need to do is just go through and check my university. See, this is at 45%. Oh well, we've got another where's the other university here? Oh, it looks like somebody actually did post a comment about their saying that their prison was filling up very quickly. What is the loyalty on these guys? 2%, 9%. They don't like us, do they? 0%. So putting somebody in prison doesn't mean that they're very loyal. We're definitely going to need to work on loyalties. You need to go up to 35% because the loyalty is rising. I had a university here as well. Got students here. I think we'll just set that to 10%. Probably feel that we need some statues in here to try and push up the loyalty a little bit. And we're a bit thin on the ground statue wise, but we do have the effect of this, which is giving us 2% increase. And what does this give us? 5.2%. I think what we will do is we're just going to drop another statue in here. What we got here? I mean, this would be brilliant, the large mouse statue, but I don't think that's going to... I think see if we can get you... We put you just in by the radio station here. Right, let's see if we can fit you on this bit of a corner here. Then we'll get you working on this. That fact that those jobs have dropped down means that it's probably... Where is it? Wow. I mean, I must admit, I'm really hooked on using helicopters now. Hopefully that will get that finished. And while we're here, just take a look at Stilton. Probably the happiness is so high here because they were one of the areas where I had a massive stockpile of electronics. And it's actually dropped down now, but I think this is the area. I think at one point I had nearly 30 tons of electronics in here, and I reduced it to 11. But you can see it's actually starting to run out now. It is what's the alcohol dependency is building as well now across the map as well. We've actually even getting alcohol here. We now have sorted that rail station out, and they're actually going to the right place. We've actually got some food supplies into here, but we can improve that now by adding you, and you can supply everything to there. We've got the refrigeration truck in here as well, if I remember correctly. Probably need another refrigeration truck. So how's the... Oh, we got no meat. Okay, we got a potential problem in Foodville because we're not producing meat. Yeah, it looks like we've lost some of the workforce in this area. Though we are producing meat, why are you guys not shipping it over? Let me just see. Let's just flip back to Stilton. Just want to check your pickup parameters. Now it looks like we just had a delivery. I think I need to sort this out because there's an inconsistency here. But I think the problem is we're not getting enough meat over to here. I think we're going to need to jack that up a little bit. And these guys are just running backwards and forwards. I think what I need over here is a dedicated meat distribution office. Actually, I think I'll put it in so that it is, I think, because it's got to pick up for here, for this warehouse, it's actually affecting that. So what we'll do is we don't need, well, we might expand it a little bit. So if we put a 5 over here, like that, get these guys working on this, you working on this as well. And we'll get the heli crews coming in here, and we need to take a look at Foodville and see what's actually going on here. I mean, we are getting meat from here, but we need to know where that meat's actually going. I think what I'm going to need to do is sort out my meat distribution. So you've got, see, he's only picking up 3.7 tiny amounts of meat, which isn't going to really keep the whole thing going, isn't it? Anyway, that's a problem for the future. I think just to wind this video up, we're going to take a look at this area. This is the one area where we haven't looked. Again, I think this is probably down to the fact that Oh no, there's no complaints here. And this is, you can say this is actually baseline now for somewhere where there's, let's just run through this. They're good for food, they're healthy, their loyalty is above 30% but not growing. But I think hopefully that will build over there. There's no alcohol addiction here. Culture is solid. There we got a little bit of, wow, religion as well. I don't know if religion adds to happiness or not. And we got that, and we've got a little bit of, we've got electronics as well at the moment, although demand is growing for people. So priorities going forward, we need to sort out electronics production area. We need to take a good look at this meat production process. But this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you found it interesting. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.